Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. These are the fighters that heavily disappointed last night. UFC Fight Night Sandhagen vs Font. And there were a few. First one has to be Ode Osbourne. Ode Osbourne is fun. He's very fast. He's very athletic. But at 31 years old, you wonder where actually is his ceiling. Out of his 6 losses, he's been finished 5 times. 4-4 in the UFC now, and he came into the UFC 7-2 and loses to Brian Kelleher by guillotine in the first round. Now that is a tough ask for a first fight in the UFC. But then he beats Jerome Rivera and then gets absolutely mollywopped by Manel Kape. Manel Kape is a freak. He's actually fighting Kai Kara-France. So, again, it's not a huge, oh my God, you lost to that guy. That guy is good. Then he comes back and he beats CJ Vergara. And then he beats Zara Adeshev very quickly in their fight. Again, 2 victories over okay guys. And then loses to Tyson Nam. Comes back and fights Charles Johnson at Charles Johnson's game. Kind of goes toe-to-toe with him, which is very impressive. But it's also another fight that Charles Johnson could have won. He's been in a lot of split decisions. That's the reality of it. He disappoints in the fact that his style, he leaves these openings in transitions. He leaves these openings. He'll do questionable things, like with the Tyson Nam fight. He jumped multiple times and left his head straight up in the air. Again, at 12-6 now, at 4-4 in the UFC, 5 finishes, and he's been finished, 1, 2, 3, 4. All 4 of his losses in the UFC are finishes. So you start to ask, what is his ceiling? Honestly, I don't really know. He trains at a very good gym in Syndicate MMA. He's number 47 flyweight in the world. So he's not terrible, of course. But where do you go from here? And it's a really hard question because, honestly, my fight that I would put him against, the fighter that I would see where he's at, is Jesus Aguilar. 40 in the UFC, ranked 40. Him or Clay Carpenter could be fun. Jimmy Flick. I could see Jimmy Flick. That could be the one. But again, madly disappointed last night at UFC Fight Night. Sandhagen versus Font. Next is Jake Hadley. Not that he terribly disappointed, but he just, after the Alan Nascimento fight, you thought he would change up his takedown defense. And granted, the first 2 rounds are close. I don't agree with a 30-27. I thought Hadley won that second round because he almost ripped Cody Durden's arm off. And again, he did fight well. People saying it was a domination or Hadley didn't do anything, and they just look at the score. 30-27 doesn't say everything that happened in that fight. I'm sorry, but you didn't watch the fight, because clearly the fight was competitive. Hadley wasn't just getting smushed. He wasn't just getting pounded on. No. Third round was less competitive. Agreed. But yeah, I just had a comment that said, what about 30-27? Hadley got dominated. And said I was the biased one trying to talk about it. Okay. Next is, Alexa Kamer. Alexa Kamer is definitely the next one. I believe he's now 0-3. 1-3 in the UFC. His one win is Justin Ledet. I remember him fighting Nikolai and actually looking pretty decent, and he possibly could have won that fight. It was a split decision. He actually looked pretty good. The reason why I picked him, what in the world? Yeah. The reason I picked him in my breakdown was because he out of the UFC for 2 years, training with Stipe. I thought he was going to come out like a bat out of hell. Now he showed how tough he was. He showed how good his chin was. But he's fighting Tanner Boser, who is going to leave holes. And he made Tanner Boser look decent. Not great, but decent for sure, to get his first win at light heavyweight. But Alexa Kamer, definitely disappointing. Definitely did not fight the way I thought he was going to fight, or look the way I thought he was going to look. And it's another one where you got to think 1-3 in the UFC. They're probably going to have him leave the UFC, go get some more experience, and maybe he'll be back. Last one but not least is Jessica Andrade. Jessica Andrade 24-12 now. She's lost 3 in a row. Even though I don't know how much you can falter on the Aaron Blanchfield one, very short notice fight. Very short notice. It was less than a month, so like 3 weeks later after she beat Lauren Murphy after 3 wins in a row. That one you can't really hold on her. And then Yan Exan, she gets destroyed. And then Tatiana Suarez, it really wasn't that competitive. She had moments, seconds, I guess you could say. 15-10 in the UFC, and she's lost 9 out of 12. 9 out of 12 losses of hers are finish. 5 by TKO or KO, 4 by submission. At this point in her career, at 31 years old, almost 32, where does she go? What can she do? Can she still build that back up? Does she need to move a weight class? All questions she's probably going to be asking and probably looking to do. But those are the fighters that I think disappointed, didn't fight the way they should have, and are now on the bubble to get cut. As always, guys, subscribe, like, and comment. Let me know who you guys agree with, who you disagree with. Am I missing anybody? As always, peace.